It is now 11 o'clock. Hello, I'm Roy Michaels, the most caffeinated personality in late night radio. And together, you and we will venture into the most mysterious reaches of time and space and the darkest corners of the human imagination. You may be confused. Good. That's the point. And as much as I would hate to ruin a good mystery, let me tell you, you are listening to the Mystery Hour, the first, only, and number one late night paranormal talk show, right here on 91.9 FM WMEB Orono, Maine. As far as our adventure is concerned, well, I hope you are not disappointed when I tell you this, but we will not be alone, you and I. Let me introduce you to the rest of the crew: Robbie, Keith, Connor, Evan, and John.
Hello.
That was extremely unsettling. That's all right. I couldn't think of a more perfect tone for tonight's program. Tonight on the, what episode? How many episodes have we done?
28.
At least 10.
17.
Tonight on the 17th broadcast of the Mystery Hour, we will explore our most base, our most primal emotion, an emotion that has kept our species alive since we even stood up straight by steering us clear of things and situations that would kill us. Paradoxically, in a more metaphorical sense, it also keeps us from truly living by inhibiting us from pursuing the things that would make us the most happy. Whether it's quitting that job you hate, asking out your crush, or taking a chance on yourself to pursue your dream. Yes, tonight's theme is humanity's greatest motivator and demotivator. It's none other than good old-fashioned fear. Judging by the weather, or if you're really specific, a calendar, it's clear that we are in the middle of summer. This is particularly good for us here in the Pine Tree State. Winter's brutal grasp is far behind, and it won't be seizing us again for quite some time. Our beautiful state is alive once more, and many Mainers will take to the wilderness for recreation. It is very likely that you will find yourself at a campfire. When the campfire songs are sung and the s'mores have been consumed, you may have an opportunity to participate in the great oral tradition that is the exchange of campfire stories. We here at the Mystery Hour want you to be the scariest person at every fire. So this summer, we'll be sharing our favorite campfire tales. I haven't told you guys about the Ambry Marine story.
Probably, but tell it again.
All right. Well, the author is unknown, but after it was posted online a few years back, it made the rounds and became sort of a modern urban legend. And this story begins with a man who took a shortcut from 29 Palms, California to Albuquerque, New Mexico, straight through the desolate high desert east of LA. The shortcut was a 2-lane road through total nothingness, with the exception that it passed through Amboy, California. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town as far below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and lava field on one side and a salt flat on the other. Rob, could you please put more birch on the fire?
Yeah, I've got birch here.
Okay. Amboy
It's on.
Thank you. Amboy has also been a hotspot for satanic group activity. The Marine drove alone in the heat of the afternoon, stopping in Amboy to snap a picture of the city sign just to prove to his friends who had dared him to take the route to I-40. after he proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between the nearly abandoned town and the interstate. Once he reached the top, he found himself driving through a canyon north with high grass on both sides of the shoulders. Shortly up ahead, he spotted an obstruction in the middle of the road. As he approached, he eased off the pedal until he was at a crawl. He then spotted a red Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open with clothes scattered everywhere, and two bodies laying face down in the road.
Wait, was it 2 bodies?
2 bodies.
Or was it 3? Because last time you told the story, I distinctly remember it being 3.
Why don't you go find a tree to urinate on, and I'll finish it up.
We are in the woods.
And if you don't have to, trust me, you will. He stopped 100 feet or so away, the hair on his neck standing straight up, his stomach folding in on itself. Something seemed wrong, very wrong. It looked too perfect, surreal in the sense that it looked like a scene from a film. An ambush, he thought? Or is that just a paranoid notion? Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable, a mistake. Instead, he scanned the road and saw a line he could drive. Past the man on his left, swerved to the right side of the woman, and out behind the Fiero. So Pontiac, to be precise. He dropped into first gear and punched it, and he drove the line. He passed without hitting the Pontiac or either of the bodies in the road. He continued forward a couple hundred feet and slowed down so he could breathe. As his heart began to slow, he looked up at the rearview mirror. The 2 bodies had gotten up to their knees, and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass that bordered the road. The Marine smashed the gas pedal to the floor, not letting up until he had to slow down for I-40 East on-ramp. He never knew what would have happened if he had gone out of his car to check on the bodies or stopped closer to them. One thing was certain: he would never return to Amboy, California. Hey, Keith, could you pass me the some more stuff, please?
You just went to go get it.
Where's Keith?
He'll be back.
Who are you?
I'm Joseph.
How's it going?
It's pretty good. You?
How long have you been here for?
I just got here.
Oh, well, we are talking about fear tonight,
Oh, got a lot of that.
and I'd like spiders.
Oh. And they have too many eyes.
Too many eyes.
Not enough legs.
So let me ask you guys, what are some of your biggest fears?
Dog-sized spiders, definitely.
That's a really big
I'd have
one.
to agree.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I actually also like tiny spiders just as much.
Okay.
Yeah, like medium-sized spiders are okay because you can get them, but tiny spiders are too fast and they're too small.
Yeah, and they get into places that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, like your crevices.
Tiny,
Also,
tiny spiders.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
They
they-
combine too and make a big spider. I heard.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm
like
also-
a Voltron spider.
Yeah.
They get in the crevices in your skin
Yeah.
and they never come out.
Yeah, they lay eggs.
I'm also afraid of women.
Women. Was that Rob who said that?
Yeah, a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the ocean.
Me
Oh,
too,
ocean
actually.
terror.
I have a deep-seated fear of swimming. I can't swim, and I think it goes back to when I was baptized. It was kind of a botched baptism, if you will. The holy water. I haven't seen a baptism since. I've only been to one. It was my baptism, and they poured it over me, but they got it in my nose and mouth, and it was my earliest memory because I thought I was dead at that point. I think that started my fear of water and sort of a distrust of organized religion.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
terrifying.
Did you have a towel over your face when this happened? Because they might have been just trying to get information out of you.
Yeah, I think so, actually. I think I was. Are you saying I was waterboarded with holy water?
I think so.
When you were
Yeah,
a
they might have
baby.
been trying to get like a demon that was in you. They were trying to get some information out of it.
That's how baptism works.
You think the secrets of the womb?
definitely.
I think it was part of the secret inquisition.
You guys have heard of it?
I think your mom was probably possessed, and then they advised her to get pregnant so it would go into you, and then they could exercise it.
That's a make
I
sure.
exercise it, like work out my little baby muscles.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
pretty strong.
It was that or extra communication.
You're really strong as a baby.
Extra communication?
Exo.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, let me complete my list of your fears. Keith, what are you afraid of?
I really dislike spiders.
Yes,
Can we just count?
spiders. Okay, so can I just... Are we afraid of anything beyond the traditional biological fears?
No.
So like darkness,
I have
spiders, sharp teeth?
Yeah. I have some existential dread.
Well, that's pretty normal too. That's also my biggest fear, commitment and death.
Yeah. That one's tough. Sucks you in.
It really sucks you in. You don't know. It's kind of like standing on a diving board and you look down at the pool, but there is no pool. There's nothing.
Yeah, and then you just have this one thought, like, is this it?
I feel like my last words are going to be a incredibly loud scream.
That's the dream.
I'd imagine
The
so.
scream dream. Make sure you write it on my gravestone.
I will.
Is anyone in here scared of being deceased? Or dying?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I look to.
So, okay, biological fears. Like I said, very common fears. Can we just write those out? Does anyone have a more refined fear?
You're moving these goalposts a lot, right? Like we're throwing you fears and you're just saying these aren't enough. These are too normal.
Well,
You must
everybody's
be
afraid of spiders. I mean, despite the like many ecological benefits they provide to society and like the cuteness of having 8 furry legs.
Baby hands?
Mm.
Yeah, they're really little.
Yeah, I don't like. I think we've talked about this girl before. 80% of me, the baby hands are just awful.
It's unnatural.
Have you seen them before?
I have seen them before. That's how since I know her.
Did you measure these hands?
We don't have any tools small enough to measure her hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should take her to a jeweler. I think they have some sort of equipment.
Put her to the loop. Ooh.
I guess I should.
So who do we know with baby hands?
Most babies.
Hold them
Yeah.
up.
But adults with baby hands.
Any baby hands in here?
Sadie, right?
That's all right.
Yeah,
That's
we
all
don't
right.
say
We don't
any.
have to hold our hands up. That's fine.
Roy, put your
Yeah,
hand.
Roy.
Yeah. When was the last time you guys were scared?
Just like actually scared, or like scary movie scared. Like what kind of scared are we talking about?
Any kind of scared, preferably profound dread scared, like a fear so great that that moment in your life will forever be imprinted in the gray matter within your skull.
Like fight or flight fear?
Probably
at that point?
6 hours ago.
6 hours ago.
Yep. At Aroma Joe's in Orono. I'll tell you what happened. I went in to get to. I actually just got my alternator belt fixed, replaced, and I came back.
Oh, wow.
I was on my
What's
way
that?
back to Aroma.
It's a
What?
very cool story, Robbie.
Our listeners aren't car people. Could you explain that?
Yeah, I had a 2004 Hyundai, and its alternator belt spins. I think it was wet. It was squeaking.
What color is the?
It's a silver Santa Fe.
Can you give us an impression of
Yeah.
the squeaking belt?
Okay, this cannot go unsaid. Roy just headbutted his microphone.
I dozed off. I'm sorry.
I
Continue
missed
with
it.
your
I was
story.
on my way.
truly
I picked.
enthralled.
I went to Aroma Joe's. I picked up 2 coffees. All right. I went back out to my
It's a
car.
lot for one person.
I went back out to my car, and it was on smoke. It was smoke was coming out of it.
All smoke.
Well, hold on.
It's floating
Well,
away
hold
on a
on.
cloud of
It was
smoke.
also on fire.
911. What's your emergency? My car. It's on smoke.
So I proceeded to call the police. I really did. And they showed up with 2 police officers. An
They arrest you
ambulance.
for being on smoke.
Well, that's not me.
Was it the smoke patrol?
Anyways.
Where's the fear?
No, there was. I opened the hood of the car. There was a fire underneath the engine. Okay, and
Whoa.
yeah, it was actually pretty scary.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of action movies. I played a lot of video games. I thought for sure it was gonna explode.
Yeah.
Anyways, I called the police and they showed up with everybody, including fire trucks. And turns out a paper towel had just caught on fire.
Was it inside of your vehicle?
Yeah,
Yeah, was there a paper towel down there?
because I just got the belt replaced. Like they left it in there.
Wait, they left a paper towel? How did they even find the paper towel? What kind of like forensic unit did they bring out
He
to the
did say they
scene?
was
brought
like-
everyone.
10 fully armed police officers and firemen.
By fully armed, do you mean bulletproof vests?
No, I just mean like their regular clothes.
How many times did they shoot your vehicle?
At least twice with cameras, and nothing past that.
Hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I got some tunnel vision when I danced away from it.
Yeah, you danced away.
Yeah, it's a scary thing seeing flames coming out of your car. I went into Roma Joe's, talked to the cash attendant, took her phone from her and called the police.
Was your phone in the car?
Yeah, it was.
Did
Was-
you ask for a phone or did you take it?
I don't know, it's all blur.
Was well, I
took it
really
by
want to
force,
know.
that's
Like,
what the
I'm
police
sorry.
did.
Is it okay? Like,
It's okay
is your
now.
car fine?
Yeah, stop crying.
No, is your car fine?
Yeah, the car's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're fine too.
Yeah,
Did
that's what I
you
thought you meant.
did you drive here with said vehicle?
No.
Why'd you have to think about that?
He's been through a really stressful
Oh, I
experience.
want to see the crime scene photos. I am doubting this story.
It's
I
yeah.
don't want to see any of these photos. It doesn't sound very interesting.
I mean, I just like to point out that often people laugh and they dance away from the scene to release that stress from a really scary situation. So I believe it.
Yeah. That's true. Like there is sort of like when you're like truly overcome by fear and like all of your like veins are constricted, you're covered in goose pimples, your hairs are standing up on the back of your neck. Like it does help to sort of do like a fear dance if you can move, if you're not frozen by fear.
Usually I can't stay still because if I stayed still I'd start trembling and shaking.
Yeah.
And then people would think what was that?
It was you've never. That's me when I'm afraid.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just showing you.
Are you afraid of your inhaler?
All blown.
Got him right in
No,
the
he's afraid of swimming. He needs oxygen.
I am afraid of swimming. John, let's talk about your fear of the ocean for a moment. Is it an open ocean fear? Are you afraid of what might be below the surface?
I'll just say that one of the scariest things I've ever seen was I was in South Carolina with actually Robbie, and we were out at Myrtle's Beach, right, Robbie?
That's right. Yeah, Myrtle Beach.
We were out there
Murder's
in-
Beach?
What?
Murder's Beach?
No, Myrtle's Beach.
I heard murder.
But
Murder scary.
What are you doing at Murder's Beach?
just
That was a little suspicious, John.
just trying to be on vacation is all. But anyway,
A man's got to get away.
I was out by the ocean. I was on the beach there, and I looked out, and it was the middle of the night, and you just saw clouds, and I just thought how awful it would be to be out there right now. How absolutely terrifying it would be to be anywhere in that water.
So you're scared of the dark?
Not just the dark. The ocean's a really vast place. If you're just out there by yourself, you wouldn't be in a good situation.
Were you here when we talked about the bloop?
I don't think so.
So the bloop is this very mysterious sound that was recorded by I can't remember the exact name of the organization, but it's a scientific organization that studies marine life, and they have these like this recording equipment like in the ocean, and they picked up this this sort of a blub sound from like almost the ocean floor. Is very deep, and nobody's been able to sort of debunk what it was, and some sort of speculated that it was like tectonic plates moving, but then they debunked that theory because it was reported that there was no tectonic activity at the time of the recording. So, you know,
Well, I mean, yeah, that's another
Sea
one of the
monsters.
things. It's like the ocean itself is it's a huge mystery. You don't know what's going on down there.
Yeah, John, you ever been swimming at night?
Yeah, I have before. Yeah,
It's pretty scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're swimming
I've
along.
only like I've never swam at night in the ocean because that's just too much for me. But I've gone out a little bit in the lake with like a bunch of people.
It's no good because you're swimming along. You're like, oh, this isn't so bad, and then some seaweed wraps
Yeah,
around your
exactly.
leg.
The ocean is much scarier.
Yeah, it's like that swamp guy we talked about who he has like seaweed like appendages and he grabs the legs of swimmers and
Exactly.
swims down just enough so they only have an inch of water between them and the air above until they, flail about and drown to death.
My God.
Sometimes it's not seaweed; it's a swamp guy.
I'm scared of that.
Yeah, PSA. Well, do we know how to differentiate between swamp guy and seaweed or possibly crabman doom?
Here's the thing about Crabman Doom. If he's in the water, he's already got you.
All right.
Game over.
And I've thought about the seaweed thing. There's one simple way, folks, to save yourselves from that, and that is to not panic, bend down at the middle, and cut the seaweed off with your hands.
Yes, with your blade hands that you should have. You should always go into the water with your blade hand gloves.
Yeah.
Whenever
just-
you go on vacation, make sure you get a quick surgery to put some blades
All
in
I'm
your hand.
saying-
Everyone knows you swim faster with a knife.
Exactly. It helps you cut
Women,
through the water.
men, get your knives.
You can bite at it.
Also,
Right,
you should just be
seaweed.
able to rip the seaweed with your hands.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
should be able to.
I have one more
Whatever
discussion.
you say, Mr. Biceps. Yeah.
Darwinism, natural selection.
Mr. Biceps, listen up. I have one more discussion question I want to throw your way. What is the scariest thing someone has told you?
Ooh.
If Robbie told me that he believes he could break a deer's neck, and Mr. Biceps or not, that's pretty scary to me.
But why? Do you have any?
Are you kidding me?
I really want to know.
I don't believe it either.
Why would you want to break a deer's
No,
neck?
no, no, no. I wouldn't want to. I could, though.
He specifically said, I would love to break a deer's neck with my hands.
He was on Murder Beach.
Look, have you guys never just grabbed, like, anything with a vertebra? Like, twisted? It's super
I've
easy.
never twisted, but I mean,
What a horrible individual.
Mr. BTK killer over here.
You want to know what's even worse about that? Is I was actually there as well. The only thing he was wearing was sandals with socks, and that was it. When
But
he
hold up.
left.
Are you insane?
Are you talking about the crabs that I, like, mass murdered? Because I'm a little afraid of those.
Ron, if they're infesting
Okay.
you, you're allowed to do that.
Would you care to share this story?
You were there.
And I'm horrified by it.
Me too. It really does
Let me
freak me out.
Let me tell you, there are two
20 crab
things.
souls.
20
Why'd
There are
you
two
count?
things.
Was that them floating up? The little cinnamon ropes?
There are two things that sort of imprint memories in your mind forever, and that's pain and fear. And let me tell you, the fear I felt when I watched you extinguish the lives of dozens of crabs without remorse. You just had this cold, boyish, steely gaze. It was like you were filled with joy, but also empty at the same time. And I'll never forget that moment.
It was an accident.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just tell the story. Robbie,
yeah.
he was crabbing. He was looking for crabs. Were you an adult at this point?
No,
Okay.
well, yeah.
I would argue he's not an adult.
I was 18.
They say you're not an adult until you kill 20 crabs at a time, and then you become a man.
That's how it works in the Keen family.
But he was lifting up rocks, looking for crabs, and he picked up this huge rock.
I couldn't even pick it up. I just
Yeah, you're-
rolled it up.
Your arms were trembling, and there are so many crabs underneath. It was like Crab City.
I remember I went through excitement at finding all the crabs, straight to panic and fear, because the rock slipped out of my fingers.
Yeah, and it just slipped, and then it was just.
And then I lifted the rock back up.
Why'd you lift it back up? Why would you do that?
I don't know, but I should have.
sure
I
you
have
got
some
it.
serious
Left it.
crab PTSD.
New fear. I'm afraid of you, Robbie, because you're a madman.
Exactly.
And it is 11:30. I think this is a good time to take a break. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
All right, well, in light of Robbie's misfortune with his car being on smoke earlier today, here's a PSA from none other than Smokey Bear. You're listening to the Mystery Hour on 91.9 FM, WMB, Orono, Maine. I'm Roy Michaels. It's now 11:30. We'll be right back.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Roy Michaels. You're listening to the Mystery Half Hour right here on 91.9 FM WMB. Robert, you get that Kit Kat out of your mouth.
All right, we're back.
No food in the studio.
What?
I'm Roy Michaels. It's 11:31. You're listening to the first, only, and number one late night paranormal talk show right here on 91.9 FM WMB, Orono, Maine. And tonight we're delving into our most base, our most primal emotion, the motivator of many of our lives, and also the demotivator, and that is fear. So, what's the scariest ghost story you guys have heard?
Pass.
Well, let me tell you a story. And like I said earlier, memories when you're truly terrified sort of stick around. You remember them. They linger, if you will. And we've mentioned it before on the show, but for those of you who don't know, our field reporter Mary Hamilton, who's not here with us tonight, has the distinction of telling me the greatest ghost story never told. And I remember it vividly. We were on the track bus coming back from Presque Isle, and we were having, normal high school banter, party stories, gossip, which person, a group of 3 people you would wed, perform coitus with, or murder.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so as the sun sort of became a smoldering red and started to retreat beyond the horizon, and dusk began to creep up on us, the conversation quickly changed to an exchange of ghost stories. And it turned out that Mary has some truly great ghost stories, many of which still give me chills whenever I think about them. And perhaps my vivid memory of the stories told that evening were solidified in part by the profound sense of dread that overwhelmed me after the final story had been shared. However, as I mentioned earlier, that story was a story that was never told. And we were about 3 stories deep at this point, and Mary began to, it seemed like she was preparing for the grand finale of the evening, bless you. And she took a deep breath and sort of gathered herself as if she was about to partake in a task that required a great deal of tremendous effort. And she started telling the story. And then the color washed from her face. She froze up. Tears began welling in her eye ducts, and she just stopped. And I was looking at her, and I was instantly just overwhelmed by how afraid she looked. I wanted to know what the story was, but I was truly horrified. Just seeing her shift in mood from kind of, joyful, having fun, scaring the other kids on the team, to just completely stoic, paralyzed by fear, emotionally drained, really had an impact on me. And since then, my entire life, I've it's been about 4 years now, and I wanted to know that story. I had to have it. And, Mary's not here on the show with us tonight, but I was finally able to coax out of her the story, the greatest story I never heard. All we knew, like, she'd give me like fragments over time. I knew that involved a dead baby in a chicken coop. Now that's a puzzle that requires some very intense gap filling, and it turned out actually that the empty pieces were more dark than I previously imagined. So yesterday I got together with Mary, sat down with her, and we recorded the greatest ghost story never told, and I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. And I will mention that I was listening to the audio earlier, trying to sort of piece together the story, make it a coherent narrative. And at one point I thought I heard voices that didn't belong to Mary or myself. So keep your ears open. Now, without further ado, here's the greatest ghost story finally told. So, Mary, I have to know what happened that day you decided to stop telling me this ghost story that eventually became the scariest story I've never heard.
So basically what happened was I knew a lot of the key points of the story. I knew what it involved and like pretty much what had happened. It's just like the unknown within the story and like not knowing what it was that went into like the events that happened and how they unfolded. I was left feeling like attached to the story was some kind of like curse or some kind of like omen that was going to happen. Like if I told the story, that what happened and what was unresolved would somehow be inflicted on my life for telling the story, kind of like in The Ring, where it's like if you watch it, like you have to like show someone or else it's gonna come and get you. So it's almost like kind of like in a weird way the reverse.
Oh, so you've decided to finally pass the curse to me.
No, it's just like I don't even know if it's like really like passing it on to another person, because I mean it was passed on to me, and for as long as I've known it, there's nothing like really bad that's happened to me.
So it's not the case that the curse just got so bad that you decided, all right, I'll finally give Mike what he wants, I'll tell him the story, I'll pass the curse to him, it's his problem now, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this curse anymore.
No, I just like, I kind of realized, because I haven't really thought about it for a really long time, but I realized once you kind of asked me after a while had passed, like, oh, well, what was the ending of that story? And I realized that I didn't really have that fear anymore. And I think it was like the fear that was like holding me back, of just like not really wanting to tell the story. And for so long, I think it's been 5 or 6 years since I heard the story originally, that I just hadn't told it again or hadn't really thought about it. And after not telling it again, I've completely forgot about it, because I think like with storytelling, like it's repetition, like you have to like really like go out of your way to like focus on like telling it to people so that it stays in your memory. But I just like it was something about when I heard it for the first time. When I heard it for the first time, I literally cried, because I knew it was a true story. And it was just like the fact that, I had no idea how, like what had happened to these people, and like how like the events unfolded except for like what had been said. And basically like this is the story. So I was on the bus. I was on a track bus. We were on the way to MDI for a track meet, and my friend, she was deciding, you know, I'm going to tell these ghost stories. I have a bunch of them, and they were literally stories that were like connected to her family. So they are stories that she has been like been passed down in her family. She started telling this story about her great-grandmother and how like they lived up, her great-grandmother and her great-grandfather lived in upstate New York, and they had like a pretty small property, but like it had a lot of land, and like they had chickens and things like that, and probably like some other livestock, but pretty like small like home and things like that, but like a lot of land. Not that they were like really secluded, because there were people around them and things like that. And basically like one day her grandmother was working out around like the chicken coop and on their land, and she noticed like that while she was like tending to like either like a patch or like a part of land or like something, she was digging, and she noticed that, you know, there was something askew, and she found this shoebox. And in like the shoebox came with a letter, and outside, like, so she read the letter that was attached to the shoebox, and it said, you know, pretty much, keep out of this box, don't open this box, this isn't any of your business. And when she opened the box, there was a dead baby on the inside of the shoebox. And so, you know, obviously she had told her husband, and so her husband was like the only one that knew that she had found this baby in the shoebox. And, you know, what was like really messed up about it is within the next day she was found dead. And so like nobody really knows what the causes were, and still like what she said, like if you go back in the records, like there's not really anything that was like a cause of death other than like natural causes. So like that's why it's still undetermined of how, like it's just like kind of weird that those two events would kind of coincide with each other. Like you find a dead baby in a box that says like don't mess with this box, and then you wind up dead the next day. And like after a year, the husband was just like so depressed and so distraught that he was found, he had hung himself in their chicken coop. So pretty close, the same like land in the same area, and within a year he had like hung himself. So a lot of dead people in that story, and a lot of like don't really know what happened, and it just like really freaked me out.
And there you have it, the greatest, the scariest ghost story finally told. And I really want to know what you guys think about this, because I have some theories. So the box, it was buried, it was hidden. And it came with the note that, you know, don't open the box. And it seemed that whoever placed the box with its contents in the ground didn't want it to be found. Perhaps they were covering up a pregnancy. Perhaps there was a miscarriage. We didn't really know how far along the baby was, but it was a dark secret that they wanted to keep hidden. And then eventually, you know, the woman in the story who finds the box, she turns up dead. And it seems like, I have this theory that maybe some sort of supernatural force related to the person who hid the box wanted to make sure that their secret never got out, and killed the woman. What do you think? Yeah, Connor?
I don't really have much to add, but I will say that I have the chills, and if I didn't have a radio show to do, I'd be dancing out of here.
Yeah.
Just like our friend Robbie Keane over here.
Good thing I have the chills as well, which is good, because the campfire we did have about 20 minutes ago was pretty warm, and I'm kind of sweaty still. But yeah, do you think it's sort of a ghost mafia that wanted to keep the woman from snitching?
I don't know. I have a different idea about the note, because if you have a note that says don't open the box, you know what someone's going to do? They're going to open the box. That's what they're going to do. They're going to open the box.
I'd open the box.
So as maybe it's the work of some like extremely malevolent prankster.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Some deviants.
Yeah, old baby in the box. It's a classic.
For a demon.
Yeah, for a demon.
You put it on the front step, and they come out and they see it and they just kick it.
Exactly. I think there's just, whenever there's a box, I feel like you always want to open it, and you always want to get inside it, and just like,
You want to get inside.
Are you a cat?
not
A human
like,
cat?
not your entire body, but you want to get parts of you, like, just in there.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
just in
To
the box,
quote
look
Bradley
around,
Pitts.
just feel around in there. Oh, yeah?
Sorry. We'll go back to that. To quote Bradley Pitts, "What's in the box?" 7, you guys seen it?
Yep.
David Fincher?
His wife's head.
His wife said, spoilers.
We don't know that. We don't. That might not be true.
So when you find... Oh, Keith.
Sorry, this is a little off topic, but I think it's probably like a good exercise. What would you put on the box if you actually didn't want someone to open it?
Probably some
Nothing.
some runes.
Taxes, 1985.
Exactly.
Yeah, poison.
Or you just hide the box.
Hide the box. They did hide the
Under
box.
dirt.
That didn't stop them.
Yeah, under dirt.
Let me tell you, I hate dead baby ghost stories. For some reason, they like get underneath my skin, and they truly spook me out. You can hear it right now. My voice is shaking. I had a friend that lived with me on French Island, and his property was kind of like to the more like towards the back, you know. And at night it was super creepy. There weren't many street lights. And there's like this dark black river. It was very cold, and I guess on his property there were baby graves. It seemed that, you know, like French Island, a lot of French immigrants lived there, and way back when, you know, when the life expectancy wasn't so good for a child, you know, you just keep having them, keep putting them in the ground. And so he had this baby graveyard, and I remember him telling me this one story, and to which I said stop, because it was scary, but
Good tactic.
yeah. Anyway, his parents reported just sort of strange things happening around the house. There was this like a little robot dog toy that he had that they would hear in the middle of the night kind of like turn on. They'd hear its horrible little plastic legs moving around in it, kind of like woofing, barking.
Why do people own those?
Yeah, just woof, woof, woof. So they'd hear the toys, yeah.
Well, are you sure this isn't some sort of Toy Story scenario, and the toy is just not as good as pretending it's a toy as like Woody or Buzz was?
And that's a good theory, one I didn't really consider, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because that's actually a much more common thing than you'd think.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Well, just to go back to Toy Story, Sid's room, a very scary scene. Do you remember?
Very scary.
Wow. Yeah.
Very fearful. That
Yeah, it scared me a lot as a kid.
I don't want to be a toy in Sid's room.
Anyway, so you had this toy dog walking around, weird stuff happening, like your typical run-of-the-mill haunting, like the pitter-patter of people that you don't see in your house doesn't make sense. It's too loud to be mice or some other type of rodent. You have doors shut in, shadows in the corner of your eyes. But one night, his dad swore by this story that he was sleeping and he woke up out of his sleep, but he was kind of had like a great lethargy, like he was experiencing sleep paralysis. And at the foot of his bed, he saw the silhouette of what seemed to be like a toddler-sized shadow just standing on the end of the bed, staring back at him as he slept. And that one always freaked me out.
Jeez.
Yeah, ooh. I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah, Connor, you have sleep paralysis.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be afraid of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can sympathize.
I wish I had a button that when I experience like sleep paralysis, I could just move my finger a little bit to hit it, and
Yeah.
it's like wake me up.
Yeah. Connor, do you remember that time I hid in your closet when you had sleep paralysis?
I remember you hiding in your closet your entire life.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Hasn't
Right.
had a lot of money. Hasn't had
That's
enough
not
money to
true.
buy a full house. Has to live in the closet.
Yeah, well, I think
That's a good investment though. You
I
start
love
with the
hiding in Robbie's
closet.
closet. I love when he hides in my closet. He just loves hiding in closets.
This isn't true. You're spreading fallacies.
I,
Not to be confused with fallacies, which is
Fallacies.
great migrations of birds in the sky that look like ocean waves.
Right. Don't confuse it with that.
Robbie, do you remember the time I hid in your closet? No, this is Mike that scared. Never mind. In Mike's
Yeah.
I was in the closet at your house, but I scared Mike.
It wasn't cool.
I remember that.
But yeah, Robbie did hide in my closet, and he scared the bejeebers out of me.
Really?
Hid under my bed. Didn't know it was him.
There was
The bejeebers.
The bejeebers.
You know, it's fun to like
It's-
scare your friends
yeah,
like that.
It is
Yeah,
fun.
not to the point of the bejeebers.
Yeah, I had to
though.
go get new bejeebers at the hospital.
I actually,
Did
I
you
almost.
lose all your I can't even say it.
Bejeebers.
Bejeebers.
I did.
Bejeebers.
Bejeebers. Don't say it 3 times, guys.
We
Jeez.
don't want bejeebers running around here.
That's how it
It's
happens.
like Hamburglar. He just takes all your bejeebers.
I'm gonna go out there. My leftover mac and cheese in the lounge is gonna be. It's just gonna be replaced by bejeebers.
It's gonna be filled to the brim with
Ugh.
bejeebers. It's gonna be
Yum.
Mac and Jabe-
I do have a.
Mac and Bejeebers.
Do you also say Pischetti?
Wait, I have one
How
more
else am I supposed to say
thing to
it?
say.
Yeah. Yes.
Before
Rob.
you move on.
Oh yeah.
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 Well, I don't know. Connor, do you remember that's John? You were with him. I almost scared them into Bejeebers. One
this in
time,
the
I was
car?
in the back of their car.
Scare them into bejeebers.
Yeah, we almost gained bejeebers from it.
Yeah, you put them on over your legs and
Don't
torso.
push your friends into bejeebers. It's a rough road. It's a gateway to jeepers and zigzags.
Yes, yeah. A
Um,
gateway to it.
So can you explain how you were going to scare these guys?
Yep, I was hanging out in really simple. I was hanging out in Connor's room, said goodbye to John and Connor, went downstairs, and instead of getting into my car, I tested Connor's car door to see if it was unlocked, like I usually do. And I jumped in the back of it, and I just laid in the back of it because I knew they were going to the store in about 5 minutes. And I really could have just killed them. But instead,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
instead
'cause there's-
I revealed myself before I could jump on.
No. I saw you.
Oh, yeah, you
I
saw-
saw.
Oh,
I didn't
that's
see
what
it.
happened.
He wasn't even in the back seat. He was in between the back seat and the back of the front seats. Like he was just like kind of wedged in there.
I was
Maybe-
gonna scare you so bad.
Maybe that's how that like urban legend like started about the girl who was driving home, and this car behind her kept flashing her with high beams and like tailgating her, and she was really freaked out. And it turned out when she finally talked to the guy, which I don't know why you'd talk to a creepy guy flashing him with high beams, that there was someone in the back trying to scare the bejeebers out of her, and each time he rose to get her, he flashed the high beams, and the guy in the back would sort of.
Oh, that's a classic.
That is a classic. Ted Bundy used to do that. Not the high beams
old
thing.
Ted.
He was the bejeebers guy.
Oh god.
Yeah.
The original bejeebers.
So what is it
You gotta
about?
say that word so fluently.
So do we decide yet whether it's a good thing or a bad thing to be afraid? Because I think that's a pretty good thing to.
It is a good thing. It's a good thing to be scared and scare people.
Yeah, well, because society's all about not being afraid, being brave, but then being afraid is like a useful for natural selection.
Yeah, also
Survival
very
instinct.
useful from a political perspective if you want to kind of control your flock better.
Very useful.
Yeah, it happens all the time, even today.
Happening.
Currently.
Right
Listen,
now?
Robert, and there are people out there who want to kill you and end your way of life.
All right, I'm gonna do what you say now.
The Visigoths are at our door, and if we don't act quickly, if we don't build a wall, they're gonna come in and steal our milk, destroy our country, and feed us to the hounds.
Hail onto the froth.
They're gonna steal our milk?
Yeah.
Come on, we need that.
If you told me that, it must be true, right?
Yeah,
I need it
yeah.
for my bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't have osteoporosis.
Yeah,
in
it's
here.
got like 10 bejeebers per gallon. You really need that nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why fear over hope? You know.
Well, fear is very good. Like we said, when you think about like prehistoric man. Like sort of just having the fear code in his biology kept him from, deciding to fill his pocket up with the black spiders that had the red hourglass design on its back, or sticking its hand in the
common barn spider.
common barn spider.
Yeah, if you're not scared of the dark, they just walk out into the woods at night, get attacked by like a saber tooth.
Then again,
exactly.
if men had stayed afraid, they would have never sought to use that first spark of flame, and thus begin civilization.
Well, a fear could have been why they used the spark. You get this dark world, it's scary. You don't know what's out there. You don't have the Wikipedia that you do today. You aren't educated. There wasn't caveman school. As far as you knew, there's like Connor out there, just like romping around, knocking trees down, kidnapping kids, making cows milk.
I thought he was just building cows.
Guilty. Guilty as charged.
We've all been there. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all been on the farm before.
Did you say building cows?
You did say building cows.
This
Me?
isn't my first time on the farm. Yes, Connor.
Oh, I don't know if we have enough time, but I think John had a scary story to tell.
I think we have enough time for a scary story.
Yeah, sure. This was a personal experience that I had.
Hey, what sort of ambiance do you want?
You know what? Hit me with whatever you got.
Wind.
Clown sounds.
Can we combine those two?
No, we are using the official Mystery Hour soundtrack produced by Jimmy Ozog. Thank you, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, it's a better idea.
Jimmy.
You got some good stuff?
Yeah, just go for it.
All right, cool. So I was over at, every now and then, I like to take a trip up to Connor's camp here. His parents invite me along. We'll go for fun rides in the four-wheeler. We'll go fishing. We'll paddle across the lake and pick some blueberries in the bushes there. One night we decided to take the four-wheeler out along this really long path into the middle of the woods. And Connor drove out. We had the high beams on. We were cruising right along. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of scary too because it was the middle of the night and we were in the middle of the woods. And on the way back, I was like, all right, it's my turn to drive back because it's only fair. You drove here, I drive back. So I got off to get him to move, and right then he just said, no, I'm driving back. And we got in a little bit of an argument, and then he just drove off and left me there in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. I don't want to be in the back because I have a fear of being emasculated. I wanted to be on the front of the four-wheeler.
And I felt since I had already gone through that experience, it would be his turn. So, but he didn't agree with it, and he left me in the woods. So I had to find my way back on my own. And on the walk back, you hear all sorts of sounds that you don't know because you can't see.
Yes.
I heard crickets. I heard some twigs breaking, and I every now and again when I'm in the woods and it's dark, I try to work up the courage to look behind me to just make sure that, like, maybe there's something there. And I looked behind me, and there was just 4 eyes just looking at me, like 2 pairs of eyes just staring right at me, and it freaked me out. So I started to quicken up my pace. I was like, oh, well, maybe it's nothing. And I just kept going, looked back. They were getting closer and closer each time. And I started to break into a run, and I got really nervous. And then I heard Connor rev his engines. He was coming back to get me on his four-wheeler. And
Oh, I revved my engines all right.
oh yeah, he did. He came back, he got me. I looked around one more time, hoping by the headlight of his four-wheeler I'd be able to see what was following me, but I couldn't see a thing. And as soon as I got back on the four-wheeler, and I was really willing to ride in the back this time, and I was ready to get back to camp. I was just happy to get out of there.
Walking, I was just safe back at camp,
Yeah,
drinking some hot chocolate.
yeah, and finally his parents who were there were like, where's John? And he was like, oh, I left him out in the woods. And they made him come and get me.
Yeah, I was trying to ditch you.
He wasn't even being brave.
Wait,
He was kinda-
you went all the way back to the camp with John in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
I can't get rid of this guy.
It's like a real...
Were those eyes up high or close to the ground?
I would say if you're looking at like a kid who's about like 12 years old, be about that height.
Middle.
and middle.
A lot of things could be middle.
Yeah, and I could have been an animal. I guess an animal that would fit the description about that high would probably be like a bear.
So
probably.
yeah, was it just glowing eyes, or was it like red eyes?
It was glowing eyes, yeah.
Okay, so
Which
something
was
with
strange
nocturnal.
because there was no light to reflect those. So I would assume that its own eyes were generating that light.
Oh, bioluminescent eyes in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
main
yeah.
woods.
Nature
So-
animals with lights.
Or a
Dishwasher.
Or some
Or
like
a robot.
A robot.
Speaking of robots, Robo DJ will be taking over shortly. A benevolent form of artificial intelligence designed to serve mankind and its desire to party.
Great at parties.
Great at parties. He never leaves here though, but somehow he still gets there. But yeah, John, I can't imagine being alone in the woods. That's truly
I
terrifying.
mean, it could have been like a couple pairs of fireflies playing a trick on me, but I don't know.
No.
Yeah, well, sometimes they do group up to make messages
Solid
to
prank.
communicate
yeah.
with man.
Well, as Mike said, it could be a robot with 4 eyes, or 2 robots with 2 eyes, 4 robots with 1 eye.
That's
You know.
right. Or 4 fairies.
How long were you out there, John, without Connor?
Time kind of passed by slowly because I was so scared, but I would say probably about like a half hour I was out there.
A half hour? Oh my! Alone in the
Yeah, it
in the
wasn't-
woods. That's for Connor's camp is in a very remote region of Maine. It's very weird. It's on
It's like
the
way off the stud mill.
It's
road.
off the Stud Mill Road, which is like a super highway for like
You get to
hunting and just
Canada
like all kinds
from
of
there.
strange Maine shenanigans.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the guardian of the roads. We can talk about that some other time.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have to say though, being in the woods alone at night is one of the scariest things.
To quote Stephen King, university alumni and known here at the Mystery Hour as Papa Stevie, in his novel Salem's Law, he wrote, "Alone. Yes, that's the key word. The most awful word in the English tongue. Murder doesn't hold a candle to it, and hell is only a poor synonym."
It's a powerful quote.
We got to get him on the show.
Yeah, we love you, Papa
Come on the
Steve.
show. Stephen King. Come on the show. Come on the show. Please. Come on the show. Please, Stephen, come on the show. Stephen, come on the show.
Maybe he'd have us on his radio channel. Was it?
Oh,
I don't even remember.
that actually makes him a competitor in kind of a weird competitor or comrade. I'm gonna say comrade.
Comrade, yeah.
I think a little both.
Here's the difference between us and commercial radio. So there are other, paranormal talk shows out there. There's Ground Zero and Coast to Coast, but they do it for money. And there are people out there who will pay hosts to report on the stories that they want told and to not report on the stories that they don't want the public to know about. And from our perspective as paranormal and conspiracy radio hosts, that completely ruins the whole point. I mean, for example, none of them would have tried to tackle the North Woods alien raid that we did a few weeks ago. The Sasquatch, I never... Yeah, Joseph?
I would like to point out that I'm willing to sell out. I just want to put that out there.
I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Anyone,
willing
it
to
would
sell
be
out.
you. Yeah.
Big fan of money.
We're activists, and
Yeah.
I think we get paid with the support of our fans.
Well,
Yeah,
that doesn't feed
um,
my kids.
If we could just... Yeah, we don't take monetary donations. Well, maybe we don't. I'm not sure if the station does, but we here at the Mystery Hour, we don't. But we do take energy donations. So if you could just close your eyes and think about us for just a moment. Open your hearts to us.
Right.
Come on the show,
Powering.
Thank you so much. Well, it is now 12:04, and that means the end of the Mystery Hour, the first, only, and number one late night paranormal talk show here on 91.9 FM. WMB, or I'm sorry, I kind of have a nosebleed from the energy that we just received. Oh my god.
Oh, wow, so blessed.
I am so hero.
My head is killing me.
Yeah. If you liked what you heard, we'll be here next week at 11 o'clock. We do have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Midnight Mystery Hour. I know that's misinformation because we are on at 11 o'clock for the summer. But give us a like, leave us a comment, tell us the stuff you like and don't like. Talk to us. We can share ghost stories. Very lonely people. Yes, Rob?
I think everyone should just take away from this episode about fear, listen to your fears, don't be the bigger man. If you're afraid of something, run away from it.
Follow Robbie's advice. Be like him. Never be the bigger man. Let someone else do all the manly stuff first, and then you can just follow in their footsteps.
You gotta protect your bejeebers. It's important.
Yeah.
Bejeebers are bad.
All right, well.
Too many bejeebers.
Tonight on the show, we've heard of dark secrets and our greatest fears. The fears of us here in the Mystery Hour. We got spiders, darkness, very vanilla fears. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed with you guys. But I would like to reiterate what Rob said. Don't let fear control you, but also give in to it. Because it may keep you from doing that terrible thing that ends your life or sends you down a path of destruction. And as you go to sleep tonight, I want you to remember George R.R. Martin's quote, "Fear cuts deeper than swords." I'm Roy Michaels. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy your nightmares.